She pushed through the bar door with bloodied knuckles and a wedding ring she could no longer bear to wear. The man behind the counter didn't flinch. He'd seen worse. What he hadn't seen was someone who'd make him question every rule he'd ever lived by. Before we dive into Zara's story, if you believe in second chances and love finding us when we least expect it, hit that like button, drop a comment telling me, have you ever walked into a place that changed your life forever? And don't forget to subscribe, because this story will stay with you long after it ends. Now, let's begin. The rain hammered against the pavement like fists against a door that wouldn't open. Zara stumbled down the alley, her left eye swollen shut, her ribs screaming with every breath. The wedding ring on her finger felt like a shackle, cold and suffocating. She'd left everything behind, her phone, her keys, her dignity scattered across the marble floor of the penthouse she'd once called home. Not home. Prison. Her husband's voice still echoed in her ears. You're nothing without me. No one will ever want you. She'd believed him for 3 years. Tonight, when his hands wrapped around her throat, something inside her finally broke. Not her spirit, but her fear. The neon sign ahead flickered. Moon's End. A bar. Dark. Quiet. She didn't care who was inside. She just needed to breathe. Across the city, in a penthouse office overlooking the harbor, Jun Young sat in silence. The city sprawled below him like a kingdom he'd built with blood and calculated patience. His phone buzzed. Another problem, another transaction, another life he'd have to decide the value of. He was 34 and untouchable, feared, respected, alone. His second in command, Min Ho, stood by the door. The shipment's cleared. The cops won't be an issue. Jun Young nodded without looking up. Good. I'll be at the bar. Minho hesitated. Boss, you've been spending a lot of time there lately. It's mine. I'll spend my time where I want. What he didn't say. The bar was the only place that felt real anymore. No pretense, no performance, just whiskey, shadows, and silence. He left the office and drove through the rain-soaked streets, his mind already somewhere else, somewhere quieter. Zara pushed open the heavy door. The bar was nearly empty, just a few souls nursing drinks. In corners, avoiding eye contact, the air smelled like aged wood and smoke. Behind the counter stood a man wiping down glasses with methodical precision. He was tall, lean, with dark hair pushed back and a scar that ran from his temple to his jawline. His eyes were sharp, calculating, like he could see through walls. He looked up. Their eyes met. Zara's breath caught, not from fear, from something she couldn't name. Jun Young froze mid-motion, the glass still in his hand. She was soaked, trembling, her face bruised, but it wasn't the injuries that stopped him. It was her eyes, defiant even now, like she'd walked through hell and refused to bow. Her voice cracked. I just need a moment, please. Jun Young set the glass down slowly. Sit, he said quietly. You're safe here. He didn't know why he said it, but somehow he meant it. Zara collapsed onto the bar stool, her legs finally giving out. She pressed her palms against the counter, grounding herself, reminding herself she was still here, still breathing. Jun Young poured water into a glass. No words, no questions. He slid it toward her. She stared at it like it might disappear. Drink, he said softly. She obeyed, her hands shaking so badly the water nearly spilled. When she set the glass down, her eyes filled with tears she refused to let fall. Thank you, she whispered. Jun Young leaned against the counter, arms crossed, studying her with an intensity that should have felt invasive. But it didn't. It felt careful. Who did this to you? His voice was low, controlled. But there was something beneath it, something sharp. Zara's throat tightened. It doesn't matter. It does. Why? She looked up at him, her voice breaking. Why would it matter to you? You don't even know me. June Young didn't answer immediately. He reached beneath the counter and pulled out a first aid kit, setting it between them. Let me see your hands. I'm fine. You're bleeding. Zara glanced down. Her knuckles were split open. Dried blood crusted around her wedding ring. She hadn't even felt it. Slowly, she extended her hands. June Young took them, gently, as if they were made of glass. His fingers were warm, steady. He cleaned the wounds with precision, his jaw tight. Your ring, he said quietly, nodding toward her hand. You want to keep wearing that? Zara stared at the gold band. It felt like it was burning her skin. I don't know how to take it off. Yes, you do. The eyes met again, and this time, something shifted. Zara's fingers trembled as she twisted the ring. It resisted, stuck from years of wearing it, years of pretending it meant something other than ownership. June Young's hand covered hers. Let me. He slid the ring off slowly, carefully, like he was freeing her from chains. When it came loose, he set it on the counter between them. Zara stared at her bare finger. For the first time in 3 years, she felt light. You don't have to go back, June Young said, his voice quiet but firm. Not tonight, not ever. You don't understand. I understand men who think they own people. His eyes darkened. I've dealt with them before. There was a weight in those words, a history. Zara's breath hitched. Who are you? June Young straightened, his expression unreadable. Someone who keeps his promises. He paused. Stay, just for tonight. I have a room upstairs. No strings, no questions. Zara should have been afraid, but all she felt was relief. Okay, she whispered, and for the first time in years, she meant it. Zara woke to sunlight slicing through unfamiliar curtains. For a moment, panic seized her. Where am I? Until the memories flooded back. The bar, the man, June Young. She sat up slowly, her body screaming in protest. The room was small but clean, minimalist, almost sterile. A glass of water sat on the nightstand beside 2 painkillers. She took them. Downstairs, she could hear muffled voices, men talking in low, clipped tones. Her instincts fled. Danger, but exhaustion, kept her rooted. She wasn't ready to face the world yet. June Young stood behind the bar, his phone pressed to his ear. I don't care what he says, he said coldly. If he steps foot in my territory again, he won't leave it. Minho leaned against the counter, watching him carefully. Boss, about the woman upstairs. What about her? People are going to ask questions. You never bring anyone here. Then let them ask. Minho frowned. You know who she's running from, don't you? June Young's jaw tightened. He'd made calls last night, pulled strings, found out everything. He needed to know. Her husband was a lawyer, wealthy, connected, untouchable by most standards. The kind of man who hid his violence behind expensive suits and charity galas. The kind of man June Young had no patience for. I know, he said quietly. And he's going to come looking for her. What are you going to do? June Young's eyes darkened. Whatever I have to. Zara finally descended the stairs, moving carefully. The bar was empty now except for June Young, who stood near the window, his back to her. You should eat, he said without turning around. I should leave. Why? Because I'm putting you in danger. Her voice cracked. My husband. He won't just let me go. He'll find me. And when he does, he'll deal with me first. Zara's breath caught. You don't understand. He has lawyers, connections. He'll destroy you. Jun Young turned slowly, his expression unreadable. Let him try. There was something terrifying in his calm, something absolute. Who are you? Zara whispered. Jun Young stepped closer. Someone who doesn't lose. Zara's heart pounded. She should run, she should thank him and disappear before she dragged him into a nightmare. But part of her, God help her, wanted to stay. I can't ask you to protect me, she said. I can't ask anyone to. You didn't ask. Jun Young's voice softened. I'm offering. Zara's eyes filled with tears. Why? Because no one deserves what he did to you. He paused. And because I haven't felt anything in a long time, until you walked through that door. The confession hung between them like a fragile thread. Zara didn't know what to say, so she stayed silent, and for now, that was enough. 3 days passed. Zara stayed in the room above the bar, healing slowly, physically at least. Emotionally, she was still raw. Jun Young kept his distance, but she felt his presence everywhere, in the meals left outside her door, in the fresh clothes that appeared on her bed, in the way the bar stayed, quieter than usual, as if he'd warned everyone to give her space. On the fourth night, she came downstairs. Jun Young was wiping down the counter, the bar empty except for them. Can't sleep, he asked, without looking up. I keep thinking he's going to find me. He won't. How can you be so sure? Jun Young finally looked at her, because I made sure of it. Zara's stomach dropped. What does that mean? It means he knows you're under my protection now, and that if he comes near you, he'll regret it. You told him? Zara's voice rose. Are you insane? He'll do nothing. Jun Young's tone was ice. Men like him only have power when no one challenges them. I did, and now he knows the cost. Zara's hands trembled. You don't understand what you've done. He'll retaliate. I've been dealing with men who threaten me my entire life. Jun Young stepped closer. Your husband is a coward who hits women because he can't control anything else. He's not dangerous. He's pathetic. Zara wanted to argue, to tell him he was wrong. But deep down, she knew he was right. Her husband was a bully, and bullies only thrived when no one stood up to them. Why are you doing this? She whispered. You don't owe me anything. Jun Young hesitated. For the first time, his armor cracked. My mother, he said quietly. She stayed with my father for years. He beat her, controlled her, and I was too young to stop him. His jaw tightened. She died when I was 16, and I swore I'd never let another man get away with what he did. Zara's breath caught. I'm sorry, she whispered. Don't be. Jun Young's eyes met hers. Just let me keep you safe. Zara's defenses crumbled. She stepped closer, her voice breaking. I don't know how to trust again. Then don't trust me yet. His voice softened. Just stay. Zara nodded, tears streaming down her face. Jun Young reached out slowly, giving her time to pull away. When she didn't, he wiped her tears with his thumb. You're stronger than you know, he said. I don't feel strong. You left. That took everything. He paused. And you're still standing. For the first time since she fled, Zara believed him. Have you ever met someone who saw your strength before you did? Drop a comment and tell me about it. I read every single one. And if you're hooked on Zara and Jun Young's story, smash that like button. A week later, Zara found herself helping behind the bar. It started small, washing glasses, organizing bottles, but it gave her purpose, something other than fear. Jun Young watched her quietly, never hovering, but always aware. One evening, after the last customer left, Zara turned to him. Can I ask you something? Always. This bar. It's not just a bar, is it? Jun Young leaned against the counter, considering his answer. No, he said finally. It's a front. For other things. What kind of things? The kind that keep people like your husband from getting too comfortable. Zara's heart raced. I run this city's underworld. His voice was steady, unflinching. I control shipments, territories, information. I decide who leaves and who disappears. Zara should have been terrified, but instead, she felt understood. So you're a criminal, she said quietly. By most definitions, yes. And you kill people. When necessary. Zara absorbed this. Why are you telling me? Because you deserve the truth. Jun Young's eyes never left us. And because I won't lie to you, not about who I am. Zara sat down slowly. My whole marriage was a lie. He told me he loved me, that he'd protect me, that I was safe. Her voice cracked. And then he broke me piece by piece. I know. How? Because I've seen it before. My father did the same to my mother. Jun Young's expression darkened. He controlled everything, her money, her friends, her freedom. And when she tried to leave, he stopped. Zara reached out, her hand covering his. You don't have to say it. Jun Young stared at their joined hands. She took pills, couldn't see another way out. His voice was barely a whisper. I found her. Zara's heart shattered. Jun Young. After she died, my father tried to control me too. Told me I'd be nothing without him. Jun Young's jaw tightened. So I made sure he became nothing instead. The weight of that confession settled between them. I built this empire from the ground up, he continued. Not for power, not for money, but so no one could ever control me again. Zara understood now. His coldness, his control, his need to protect her. He was still that boy who couldn't save his mother. I'm not her, Zara said softly. I know. And I'm not asking you to save me. I know that too. Jun Young's thumb brushed across her knuckles. But maybe we can save each other. Zara's breath caught. For the first time in years, she felt seen, not as a victim, not as broken, but as someone worth fighting for. Maybe, she whispered. And in that moment, something shifted. The walls between them began to crumble. 2 weeks passed. Zara stopped flinching when Jun Young walked into her room. She laughed at Minho's terrible jokes. She felt herself coming back to life. One night, after closing, Jun Young taught her how to mix drinks. No, you're pouring too fast, he said, standing behind her, his hand guiding hers. Slow, steady. Zara's heart raced at his closeness. Like this? Perfect. She turned slightly, their faces inches apart. You're a good teacher, she whispered. You're a good student. The air between them crackled. Jun Young stepped back first, clearing his throat. You should rest. But Zara didn't move. Why do you pull away every time we get close? Because I don't want to rush you. What if I don't want to be careful anymore? Jun Young's eyes darkened. Zara, I've spent 3 years being afraid of everything, of saying the wrong thing, of wanting the wrong thing. Her voice trembled. But with you, I'm not afraid. You should be. His voice was rough. I'm not a good man. Maybe not by the world's standards. Zara stepped closer. But you've been good to me. Jun Young's resolve cracked. He cupped her face gently, his thumb brushing her cheek. You deserve better than this, than me. Don't I get to decide that? He stared at her, this woman who'd walked into his bar broken and was now standing before him whole, choosing him. Zara. His voice was a warning, a plea. She rose on her toes and kissed him. It was soft, tentative, like she was testing if this was real. June Young froze, then kissed her back, his hand sliding into her hair, pulling her closer. It wasn't desperate or rushed. It was reverent, like he was holding something sacred. When they finally broke apart, both were breathless. I haven't felt this in so long, Zara whispered. I forgot what it was like to be wanted without conditions. You're not just wanted. June Young's forehead pressed against hers. You're everything. Zara's eyes filled with tears, but this time they were good tears. Promise me something, she said. Anything. Don't let me go. June Young pulled her close, his arms wrapping around her like a fortress. Never, he whispered. I promise. And for the first time since she fled her old life, Zara believed she was safe, not because of where she was, but because of who she was with. Everything shattered on a Tuesday. Zara was restocking the bar when the door slammed open. She looked up, and her blood turned to ice. Her husband stood in the doorway, his suit immaculate, his smile venomous. Hello, darling. Zara couldn't breathe, couldn't move. Did you really think you could hide from me? He stepped inside, his eyes scanning the bar. In a place like this, June Young appeared from the back room, his expression lethal. You need to leave. Her husband laughed. Or what? You'll threaten me? I'm a lawyer, friend. I know my rights. And I know men like you. June Young's voice was ice. You have 3 seconds to walk out. I'm not leaving without my wife. She's not your wife anymore. Oh, but she is, legally, binding. He turned to Zara. Come home, Zara. You've made your point. I'll forgive you. Forgive me? Zara's voice shook with rage. You beat me. You controlled me. You made me believe I was nothing. Because you are nothing without me. His mask slipped. You think this thug cares about you. He's using you, just like I did. Zara flinched. June Young stepped forward. Last warning. But her husband wasn't done. He pulled out his phone, showing Zara photos. Pictures of June Young from news articles, crime reports, grainy surveillance footage. You know what he is, don't you? A murderer, a criminal. The police have been after him for years. He sneered. You ran from me into the arms of something worse. Zara's world tilted. She looked at June Young. This man who'd protected her, held her, made her feel safe. Was it all a lie? Zara, June Young said softly, don't listen to him. Is it true? Her voice cracked. Have you killed people? June Young didn't lie. Yes. The word hung in the air like a death sentence. Her husband smiled. See, he's a monster, and you're just his latest project. That's not, June Young started, but Zara stepped back. I need air. Zara, wait. She ran, out the door, into the rain, her mind spinning. Behind her, she heard shouting, June Young's voice, harsh and commanding. If you ever come near her again, I'll make sure you disappear. Her husband's laughter echoed. She'll come back to me. They always do. Zara collapsed in an alley, sobbing. She'd escaped one monster only to fall for another, or had she? Her husband had hurt her deliberately. June Young had protected her. But protection built on violence, was that love or just another cage? She didn't know anymore, and that terrified her most of all. Zara spent the night in a shelter, her mind at war with itself. She replayed every moment with June Young, every touch, every word. You're everything. But he'd also admitted he'd killed, that his empire was built on blood. Could she love someone like that? Meanwhile, June Young sat alone in the bar, his knuckles bruised from putting his fist through a wall. Minho stood nearby. She'll come back. No, she won't. June Young's voice was hollow. And she shouldn't. You're not your father, boss. Aren't I? Jun Young's laugh was bitter. I control people, I threaten them, I've taken lives. To protect others, that's not the same. Tell that to Zara. Minho sighed. What are you going to do? Jun Young stared at the empty bar stool where Zara used to sit. Let her go, he whispered. If she doesn't come back, then I'll know I was wrong. The next morning, Zara stood outside the bar, her heart pounding. She'd spent all night thinking, remembering. Her husband's love had been conditional. Behave, obey, submit. Jun Young's love had been freeing. Choose, heal, stay. Yes, he was dangerous. Yes, he'd done terrible things, but it never once made her feel small. She pushed open the door. Jun Young looked up, surprise flickering across his face. You came back. I almost didn't. Zara's voice trembled. But then, I realized something. You told me the truth. Even when it hurt you, my husband lied for years. She stepped closer. You're not perfect, Jun Young, but you've never pretended to be. Zara, I'm not asking you to change who you are. I'm asking you to let me choose you anyway. Jun Young stood frozen, disbelief written across his face. You deserve someone better. Stop, Zara's voice cracked. Stop deciding what I deserve. I've had men control my choices my whole life. Don't be another one. Jun Young stared at her. This woman who'd walked through fire and refused to be burned. I love you, he said quietly. I didn't mean to, but I do. Zara's breath caught. I love you, too. And I'm terrified. But I'm choosing this. I'm choosing you. Jun Young crossed the space between them and pulled her into his arms. I'll protect you, he whispered. Always. I know. Zara's voice broke. But this time, I'm also protecting myself because I'm not running anymore. I'm standing with you. They held each other as the morning light streamed through the windows. Two broken people finding wholeness in each other 6 months later. Zara stood behind the bar, mixing drinks with confidence, laughing with regulars who'd become friends. The bruises had faded. The fear had dulled. She was rebuilding herself, piece by piece. Jun Young watched her from across the room, something soft in his eyes. Minho nudged him. You're staring again, boss. I know. You planning to marry her? Jun Young didn't answer immediately, then, if she'll have me. That evening, after closing, Jun Young found Zara on the rooftop of the bar, staring at the city lights. You okay? He asked, wrapping his arms around her from behind. Better than okay. Zara leaned into him. I got the divorce papers today. It's official. How do you feel? Free. She turned in his arms. For the first time in my life, I feel free. Jun Young cupped her face. I have something for you. He pulled out a small box. Zara's breath caught. Jun Young, it's not what you think. Open it. Inside was a delicate bracelet, simple, elegant, with a small charm engraved with the words, You are enough. Zara's eyes filled with tears. It's perfect. I wanted you to have something that reminds you of your strength, not mine, yours. He fastened it around her wrist. You saved yourself, Zara. I just gave you a place to land. Zara kissed him, deep, full of promise. I love you, she whispered. I never thought I'd say that again and mean it. But I do. I love you too. Jun Young's forehead pressed against hers. And I promise I'll spend the rest of my life proving you made the right choice. You already have. They stood together, wrapped in each other as the city hummed below them. Zara had walked into a bar 6 months ago, broken and afraid. She was walking out whole, loved, and free, not because someone saved her, but because she chose to save herself. and found someone worthy of standing beside her. A year later, the bar had a new name, Zara's Sanctuary. It became a safe house for women escaping abuse, funded quietly by June Young's empire, run openly by Zara's courage. She stood at the door one evening, welcoming a trembling woman with bruised arms and terrified eyes. "You're safe here," Zara said gently. "I promise." The woman looked at her, this stranger with kind eyes and steady hands. "How do you know?" she whispered. Zara smiled softly. "Because I've been where you are, and I survived. You will too." Behind her, June Young watched with quiet pride. They'd both been broken once, but together they'd become unbreakable. If Zara and June Young's story touched your heart, smash that like button and subscribe for more powerful stories of love, strength, and second chances. Drop a comment. What's one thing you learned from Zara's journey? I'll see you in the next one. You are enough. Never forget that.